What's up, everybody? I'm Morgan Crosbie. Welcome to Cars and Crosbie and this delivery video episode. We're going to be going through a lot of stuff going on in the industry right now today. I follow a lot of different news sources. Corvette Blogger is probably one of my favorite ones, and they have a podcast every 2 weeks where on Corvette Today, Keith Cornett will come out and talk about things that are going on in the Corvette world. We also saw on Corvette Today a great little segment on the National Corvette Museum in terms of doing Corvette deliveries, and I want to make sure that I can talk about some Canadians, as there is some things that maybe are not properly informed to the Canadian people out there about what they can do in terms of a Corvette delivery experience at the National Corvette Museum. So we were talking about this in the last video about what we were going to do with the final look of this Corvette. We decided against putting the stripe on the vehicle, even though we do have it. It is something that he could still put on at any point. We're not going to hold it to him. He can have it at any time. We're going to give it to him, and if he wants to put that Indy stripe down the middle, then we will gladly put it on. But like I always say, drive it for a bit. Get to know your girl before you start doing some major modifications. If that is anything that you take away from this video, that's the most important thing. You come out of the gates with a new Corvette, and there's all these modifications that clients will say that they're going to do. There's all these different things that they've seen on the forums that they're eager to try out. My best advice to you is to hold off, get to know your baby, then start making some additions to it, because it's not fun to just get in there full guns blazing and adding all these things when you don't even know the baseline for what you're looking at to begin with. So in my opinion, I think that it was a great decision on the owner's behalf to wait a little bit before we did any more upgrades and modifications. And there's plenty of time. It's January. It's not even like he can drive this. We've got an enclosed trailer that is going to be delivering this Corvette to him. So he can't even drive it right now, and this is a really great time to be educating yourself, especially if you're in the northern months. If you're down south, I'm very jealous because you guys can drive right now, but this is the time where we do a lot of education. I've been looking a lot into rims, as some clients have been ordering some very cool options for their Corvettes, and I'm also looking into the high wing spoiler and some substitutions as well. So there's some cool things that I'm going to talk about in today's episode in regards to that kind of stuff. But without further ado, let's go through one final walkthrough on this 3LT Z51 convertible. The convertible, in my opinion, is the best of the best. It's the best of both worlds, but obviously from a price point perspective, it's going to mean that the end price sticker is going to be quite a bit higher. I really love the accents on this vehicle being in black. I really think that the shadow gray does a great job of complementing all the carbon flash metallic accents. And from a distance, like I was saying in the previous video, it changes color. And that to me is a really cool option. This is the first time that we've had an all sky cool gray interior. And when I had the top off on the Corvette in the last video, and you could see the GT2 seats with the exposed carbon fiber, and then we had the suede over here, it was just quite a sight. I think that might be one of my favorite angles of all the Corvettes that we've delivered to this date. In the comments section on the last video, somebody mentioned about how they were looking at an adrenaline red interior and they were wanting this to be all red. And that was a great point that they picked out. When you are getting an adrenaline red interior, the headliner on it is not going to be adrenaline red. On the Sky Cool Gray though, it is, which is kind of counterintuitive to what everything else happens for the interior. So just to reiterate, if you're getting a Sky Cool Gray interior, the headliner will be Sky Cool Gray, as you just saw. But if you're looking at an adrenaline red, you can't get the headliner in that. It's going to be black. So an important thing to note, I'm glad that somebody made a comment about that in the section below. And then in terms of doing the stripes, a couple of people made some suggestions. I even saw one guy that said that he put the Midnight Silver racing stripe on his Zeus Bronze Corvette. I'd love to see that. That I think would be a really cool combination as well. And then the last thing I want to point out, if you can see it maybe in the video here, this thing feels like a baby's bum because we put the ceramic coating on the Corvette, and it is going to help it in repelling a lot of stuff from happening. If you haven't seen it in a previous video, the ceramic coating isn't going to protect your Corvette from a rock damaging your Corvette just as much as the PPF won't either. What it's going to do is it's going to make it so that you can clean your Corvette a lot more efficiently and a lot quicker, instead of having to do a very deep 4-hour detail every time that you take it out. So if you're somebody like me that has a lot of things on the go and wants to be able to go to a car show after working all day long, this is a really great way to be able to do a very quick clean and have a lot of things just kind of glance off of the paint because of that protective layer that you have on there. So hope you guys enjoyed that component of it. We're gonna go inside and we're gonna learn some more about what's going on in the Corvette world. Hey guys, I just wanted to give you a quick update inside of the shop while I'm here. We are topping up the transmission fluid in this Vette because it is a Z51 and they are going to be taking it to the track. And with it being a convertible, there is a little bit more work involved in getting the dual clutch transmission fluid topped up. We did not realize that. This is the first time we've done it on a convertible. And I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. If you are looking at getting this done on your Corvette, do not be surprised if it's a little bit more to get the transmission fluid topped up, as there is a little bit more labor involved with getting it done. As you can see, we've removed the engine cover from here. There's a lot less things to see, but what is really interesting about this more than anything is that you guys may have heard that they are putting a little tag or a badge on the LT2 valve covers, and it's from the Tonawanda plant, but they still put the valve covers in the red, and they also put the badging on it, even though it's covered up by this convertible top. And right here, as you can see, here is the new badge from Tonawanda that's on the LT2 cover. So I always kind of wondered if they were going to be putting these badges even on the convertibles because there was a cover up there. I have just confirmed that it's the exact same as in a coupe, and they still have a badge on there even though it's being covered up. So some interesting stuff that we're finding out along the way. I hope you guys enjoyed that information. So Rick Conti just reached out to me and he had a really great question. It has to do with a suggestion that he has for General Motors in terms of upgrading the key fobs to be the color of your Corvette. I think that's an absolutely amazing idea. Very thoughtful if you think about it, to be able to have that done to your key fob. And he asked me, because I'm a Cadillac dealer, if I could give him some insight on what's going on with these Cadillac keys. As you can see here, I have a blue one and then I've also got a red key fob, and those are on the CT4 and on the CT5. I didn't really know, to be honest with you, what was going on with these key fobs until I did a little bit more research into the builds. I have here a Velocity red CT4, and over here is a Wave Metallic CT5. They're both sports. So right off the bat, I thought maybe because they're V-Series sports, that had something to do with them being the key colors, and it had maybe something to do also with the colors, but it's not the case at all. It has to do with the brake calipers. When you choose to upgrade the brakes to your Brembo options here, you will be prompted to choose the color in either blue or an edge red kind of color. And when you do that, based on what color you choose on the caliper, your key fob is going to change to that. So this proves that GM is already on the ball with thinking about that. And it may just be that it is a matter of time before this comes about, or maybe they'll take Rick's suggestion and they'll do that. So if you guys have a chance, make sure you stay tuned for Rick Conti's episode that's coming out on it. It is going to be a really good one. I'm excited to see what other suggestions he has, as he has some really great content on his channel. Now, the other thing that we were going to talk about today has to do with Canadian deliveries. If you're a Canuck and you're wanting to get an NCM Corvette delivery, unfortunately you do not have that ability, but there is an alternative option that you can do. Anybody that does not have a NCM delivery still can do a very similar delivery down at the Corvette Museum and the factory, but you won't get that sticker on your door sill. You won't get the personalized plaque that also has the NCM badge on there. It gives you the tour. You can also go onto the track with your Corvette or a Corvette from the NCM. So you get as close as it gets to that delivery, but you're not going to get that send-off experience that you see on all the channels and the videos, or if you've actually been down there to see one. It's pretty remarkable to see. So unfortunately you can't do that, but it's the next best thing. And when I bought my 2017 Corvette, 3 days after I did that, it was Canada Day or Victoria Day weekend, and so I went down there, and then I also went and did a little trip in Nashville with my wife. I couldn't do that with this one, unfortunately, because the borders were closed. I wish I could, but as soon as they're open, you better believe I'm coming down south to go there and do my own C8 delivery experience as well. So hope you guys enjoyed that part of it. Go over to Rick's channel and give it a watch. It's an amazing amount of content that he has coming through the pipes. Hey guys, I just wanted to give you guys some more updates on what's going on. This is a little bit of a mixed bag episode. I'm just in the process of filming with this Escalade right now, and it touched upon one of the things that I think would be a great addition to the Corvette in a mid-cycle refresh. So a mid-cycle refresh is when they have halfway through the cycle of a Corvette or any vehicle an update on the platform, but not just a major update that changes the platform or anything. It's just, you know, kind of a 0.5 between one. So let's call this the C8.5 update suggestion. The first suggestion that I have is something that a lot of people have shown a lot of interest in, and that is the live stream camera system that you find on the 2LT and above. I think that they should make this a standard item on the 1LT, even if they have to increase the base price by a little bit. I think that that is one of the most important features that you can have from a drivability perspective and also a safety perspective. Now, the other thing that I uncovered on the new Escalade that I think would be a great addition to the Corvette is the ambient lighting system that's inside of here. Now, all throughout the Escalade, you have, wherever a material is breaking to a different one, a lot of little LED bars that can change colors. If you've had a Camaro, you may know where I'm going with this, in that you can link the colors of your ambient lighting to the driving mode that you have. I was talking upon this in a driving series episode about how sometimes I'm concerned that I may have the Corvette in a different mode than what it is. And if you had your brake biases, for example, that were changed up, you would have your coffee get launched into you or the back of your Corvette, and heaven forbid you had an interior like we just had in our last episode, the Sky Cool Gray 3LT, and it went everywhere. I'm being a little bit dramatic, but I think you guys can understand my logic here, in that if you had ambient lighting inside of your Corvette and you had it linked to your driving mode, it would be very easy to tell which type of demeanor your Corvette is set up for. I guess the Achilles heel to that would be the fact that when it's bright out, you can't see the ambient lighting, but I think it wouldn't be a hard thing to do, seeing how a Camaro already has it, and they're also incorporating this technology and all the display layouts in the Escalade already. So for me, I think that that would be a really cool addition. I know that there's tons of different things that they could focus on, and these are just some crazy things from a Canuck that he's suggesting, but I would love to see if you guys could start a comment thread on my channel about what you would think you would like to see on a mid-cycle refresh. Now, I want to talk again about some things that are going on in my life in the Corvette world, and it has to do with what I'm going to look at in the future for a Corvette. I think one of the most common things that I get asked in the comment section or just in person is, are you going to get a Z06? What Corvette are you going to get next? And you know, I honestly didn't really put a lot of thought into it. I'm under the mindset that me getting a Corvette ahead of a lot of people was bad enough as it is, but you know, I'm using that as a brochure and as a way to be able to show my clients what I'm getting. And I also did make the sacrifice in putting $1,000 deposit almost 3 years ago now. So I put my money down, and that's why I have one of those, but I didn't really feel comfortable putting my money down on another Corvette until the majority of my clients were able to get a Corvette in front of me. Now, I didn't really think that the Z06 was going to be one that I wanted to get, because I don't think I'm worthy of that yet. I'm only 31. I don't even have kids yet. I got a lot of other things to you know, get under my belt before I can get a Z06. And so that was really not one that I was looking at. I've always thought that the Grand Sport was the sweet spot, but then a very clever client of mine came in and said, why I think I'm going to put my name down for a 70th anniversary. And immediately as he said that, a whole rush of ideas came to my head, and I thought, you know what, that's a great idea. In 2023, we're going to have a 70th anniversary. It's obviously going to be something that they celebrate. The 65th was the Carbon 65 edition. That was the most recent one, and it was actually in carbon ceramic or matrix gray, which is my color. But I also started thinking about it, and if you think about the Centennial Edition, which was 100th anniversary, or the Louis, or a lot of these ones, they only usually come in a Grand Sport or a Z06 format. And then if you're looking at videos like Horsepower Obsessed just released, where he's talking about the speculations in terms of power and when models are going to get released, in his video and all the other ones on the mid-engine Corvette forum that are speculating, they're touching upon the fact that they think that the E-Ray or the Grand Sport, whichever one you want to call it, is going to be released in 2023. So I started thinking about it even more, and I looked at my timeline of how long I've had my Corvette, and in 2 years from now, that would be a reasonable time frame for me to look at upgrading my current Stingray into a higher level trim level. So I just put myself on the list. I'm at the very back. I want to play by the rules, and obviously you know, put the $1,000 deposit down and get yourself onto the list. And I put myself on the list for the 70th anniversary. I don't know what we're going to be calling it as of right now. So the list, all it says right now is just 70th anniversary 2023 model. And we're going to leave it at that for now. I don't really like to speculate. I don't want to play the rumor game and talk about what I think it's going to have. I will speculate that if they are going to have a electronic or an e-assist or having an electronic drive to the front of it, that does make a lot of sense, because GM is investing a ton of money right now in the whole electric market. We have a lot of insight from General Motors in through them talking to the dealers about what we have coming through the pipes, and almost everything that we hear about in terms of new products are electric. We've got the Hummer, for example. We've got all the new Cadillacs that are coming out. There is a lot of rumors coming out that the Hamtramck plant in Detroit is going to be converted into an all-electric platform. We know that there's a great relationship with LG Chem in terms of creating a new battery called the Ultium battery. That to me is something that is openly known about, and we also know that General Motors is very crafty at rebadging vehicles. Just for example, I'm looking at this puppy right here, and this Pontiac was a bunch of different vehicles. It was the Cobalt. It was a ton of different things. We've had that problem in the past where we've kind of taken a technology and passed it along, but that's common sense. That's how businesses run, and that's how you can transfer the cost of some expensive Corvette components to being in a lot more vehicles that justify you getting such an over-engineered item. So with you having a lot of electric vehicles in the GM horizon, it makes a lot of sense that they're going to throw an electric drive unit into that. And you think about where they're going to do it, it does also make sense that they're going to throw it in the front. So that's going to make it an all-wheel drive platform. And the only thing that I'm really concerned about right now is the fact that your trunk is probably going to make a serious sacrifice. The frunk of the vehicle is a very low frunk. There's a lot of space in there. I can fit almost a complete cart of groceries into the frunk. And I think because of how low it is, it's really going to mean that it's either going to have a lot less area in there, or they may even remove it entirely. I don't want to make any more speculations than that. I do think that this is going to be a model that I'm going to be very proud of, especially because we're commemorating the 70th anniversary of such an iconic vehicle. So I have taken a selfie. I will be looking at purchasing this in 2 years from now when it comes out, which gives me a very proper timeline. A lot of clients right now that have already purchased a Stingray from me are already starting to put their names on the Z06 list, because again, it'll give them 2 or 3 years of fun with the entry-level model, and then they can work themselves up into a more advanced, more crazy, higher performance model down the road. So I'm excited about the news that's coming about. I do have a lot of Corvettes that are coming through the pipes right now. I'm very excited to see the Red Mist Metallic in particular. I think that one is going to be a very popular model for the future. I'm really interested to see if it takes away from any of the other colors when they do the consensus near the end of this model year. We are anticipating that the model year is going to go to September, which is normally when we have our model years change in the Corvette season. With the GM strike and the COVID shutdown, obviously we extended the first model year of the Corvette so that we were able to produce over 20,000 units. Believe it or not, that's not even close to the amount of units that we produced in other years. I believe in 2015, we had our last record-breaking year, and then before that in 2006, I think we produced almost 36,000 Corvettes. It's absolutely remarkable to think about how many they got out through the pandemic shutdown, and when you compare it to any other model years, even in the later ends of the C7 generation, they far exceeded the amount of ones that they were producing, and they didn't even have a shutdown. So I hope you guys enjoyed this news. I'm always going to be very cautious and wary about what I transfer onto you guys in terms of future content. I'm not a big fan of talking about it because it's all speculation, and at the end of the day, there's so many amazing things that we have going on in the current C8 with the Stingray that we don't really need to talk about that for now. And I hope you guys are enjoying this Canadian winter that I am showing you. I'm very frustrated that I don't have the ability to show you any winter driving right now. The only thing I have is this snowdrift here to show me what we should have. And hopefully sooner than later, we will have some snow and I'll be able to show you some winter driving episodes. So stay tuned to some more awesome content. If you haven't already done it, hit that subscribe and notification button so that you can be notified when the snow falls and I start ripping around in my C8 in the snow. Thanks a lot and happy motoring.